Hey guys, so I know I start a lot of my videos this way, but it's been a while since I put anything out. I was just going through and collecting some baby fish in my fish room and preparing food and ordering some food for more baby fish. So I thought I'd just put together a really quick, easy video showing what I feed baby fish, how I prepare it, and you know, what works for different size fish, because not all baby fish are the same size. Their mouths are way too small to feed what others can eat. Alright, to get this out of the way, to start, one of the simplest, well, not simplest, it takes a little work, but more well-known and actually the best in my opinion is baby brine shrimp. These are the eggs to hatch them. I also have this hatchery I got from Gemco, which I've used for years, and it is very handy because it has this nozzle so you can just pour it out from the bottom. But I mean, you can use a 2-liter bottle or anything basically to hatch them. These are obviously great because, for one, they're live, so they're the protein level is way higher than any of the other foods that you'll be seeing. And also, since they're live, you can just drop them in and they survive in the tank for hours while the fish slowly pick them off. So you, instead of feeding, you know, 5-6 times in a 24-hour period, you just feed like twice maybe. And these work great, except for with egg layers that have very, very, very tiny fry, like rainbow fish. These will actually still be too large to feed them. So the next thing I wanted to move on to was these golden pearls. Sorry, you can see this bag has kind of been through it, but you can still see golden pearls. I found these on Amazon. These were actually recommended to me through a few different really well-known breeders who use these to raise rainbow fish and other fry that are very, very tiny. There are multiple different sizes you can get online. This is one of the smallest ones, see the 5 to 50 microns. These work great for the very, very smallest fish fry. You know, so when you're feeding little tiny fry like this, you want to keep the food super small like that. But as they get to that size and a little bigger, like you can see there's a few angels in here. Once they get to about that size, then you can really get more relaxed with what you feed them. They're big enough that they can eat larger foods, and I'm going to show you how I make a very simple, and you know, these guys are way big enough to eat. I'll show you how I make very simple, cheap food for them, just basically by crushing larger foods. So I have some Tetracolor flakes. I also have some Wardley ones. These are just the cheapest ones. I got this in an auction. These are always really cheap on Amazon, so I always buy a whole bunch at once. And it's as simple as just crushing it down. I used to, you know, go way into it and use like a mortar and pestle to get it really tiny, and that was just a mess and took way too long. And I found just actually the easiest is just to use a big bag like this. You know, pop the tops off, open up the bag, empty them in. So I usually only use one can at a time, but I wanted to mix these two. So once you get it in there, try and squeeze out a lot of the air before you seal it, because you don't want to pop the bag. But literally just, you know, crush it around and smash it up really fine. And you'll see here in a second, once I can do it with both hands. It's really quick and easy. So after just a few seconds of squishing it around, you can see it's all mixed up. And I mean, you can keep crushing it until as fine as you want, depending on the fish size. You know, you can get even smaller. You can get it down to practically powder. Once you're done with that, you can either, you know, put it right back into the container, or if you have something like this, I originally got this way back when Aquarium Co-op first came out with their little fry food dispensers. And I, you know, support your favorite fish companies, but when you're feeding a whole lot of fish like me, or if you're just on a budget, it can get a little expensive. So I just reuse this and refill it with this stuff. And so it's a quick, easy way to feed all my tanks. And it's extremely cheap. You know, this cost me a couple bucks and will last me a pretty good amount of time, depending on how much my fish keep breeding. But yeah, this I find to be, once I can get the fish big enough to take this, it's so much cheaper, easier, and everything. So I highly recommend going this route as soon as your fish are big enough to eat it. Here's really quickly showing how quick and easy it is to feed all of like my guppy grow out tanks. Just kind of squeeze it a few times. Even in here, there's some slightly larger angels, more guppy grow outs, and least killies. You just spray it in. Even for adult guppies, like the ones in here, they eat this stuff just the same. And you can just walk by, you know, if I'm in a hurry to get to work or something, just walk by all the tanks, spray a little bit in. And that's why the crushed up flakes in one of these is really the easiest way to go for once you're out of the first few stages, when they're, you know, really tiny, but once they can get their mouth around the completely crushed to powder flakes, which doesn't take long. Guppies are born big enough to be eating this, so very easy and good tool to have around in your fish room. So another thing I like to use, I just ran out of this, I have another one coming in a day or so. This instant baby brine shrimp. It's pre-hatched, so when I'm in too much of a hurry or just too lazy to go through the whole process with this stuff, you know, it's a close second place. It's not quite as great as that, you know, they're not live and swimming around. But, you know, if you're in a pinch, I prefer to use this over the frozen stuff, but I also have the frozen stuff as a backup. But I find this is very simple. I also really like to use this for my jellyfish because it's just really easy. So I do recommend this stuff over the frozen stuff. But if you have the time, definitely go live. And now on to what my baby shrimp eat, which also I can mix and match. Baby shrimp will eat all of this fry food just the same. But I do prefer to go as small as possible with the baby shrimp. I like SL Aqua's baby shrimp food. This stuff works really great. And also a lot of the baby least killifish and other small fish love to eat this as well when I put it in the tanks that they're mixed in. A lot of what's in these baby shrimp foods is spirulina powder, but a lot of times I like to just add a little spirulina powder to anything else that I am feeding them. Same goes with fish as well. Spirulina powder is a great thing to have around. It's cheap, easy, very healthy for the fish and shrimp. Here's some other products, and then Glass Garden is the other one that I like to use for my shrimp. Let's see where I can find where I put that. I was able to find one of them. This is the beta-glucan. It's kind of just more of an additive. But there's two other ones that I use all the time. The baby food one and the main, shoot, I can't even remember the name of it, the green one that everybody uses. Those, I like to mix them all together. And I also like to mix and match with a lot of these, you know, feed one day, one the other. Gives a good variety. And for the very small shrimp and stuff, you want to get kind of powdered foods and stuff like this that will spread out all over the tank, because they're so small, they have to stick to a tiny little area. They can't roam all the way around. And a lot of times, you know, if they go too far out of their little spot, they can be eaten. So you want to get food to every little corner, but you also don't want to have so much food in there that's going to pollute the water. So a small layer of spirulina powder or any of these kind of powdered foods all over the tank will feed your shrimp. And if you have little baby fish in there like I do, it'll feed them too. So yeah, hopefully you found this helpful. So that's just what I've been using currently. In the past, I have used things like white worms, vinegar eels, things like that. And they do work great for a lot of people. And for a time, they did work for me. But I've just been so busy, and I thought I'd just at least show you what's been working for me. Sorry the video's pretty low quality. I really just put this together in a little bit of free time. I wanted to get something out there and something to show, because I've had a lot of customers asking me about how to feed their baby fish. So if you have any questions or anything, just let me know down below. I'm gonna try and get out a much higher quality video very soon. I'm gonna do another tour pretty soon, because most of these tanks are very different from how they were last time there was a tour. Some of them have even changed from fresh to salt, and very different inhabitants. And yeah, I've got tanks everywhere right now. But hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one.